You know what I think is a really great idea, speaking from personal experience, is for anybody who's had a lot of trauma and is struggling to work through it, to heal, is to start a blog. Because trauma leaves, one of the things about trauma is it often leaves you feeling isolated, alone, scared, anxious, depressed. Our culture encourages us to not speak up about our abuse because, we don't want to look like a victim. We don't want to look weak. And hey, don't dump on people. Well, here's the great thing about a blog: people can watch it, they can listen, or they cannot. They don't have to. You're not dumping. You're sharing, and it's out there. And you might just get some engagement. You might get some feedback that's helpful to you, and sharing your experience might be helpful for someone else that's also going through something similar. That's ultimately what we all need. We need each other. We need people. And the powers that be, our government, the elites that run the world, they have been dividing us against one another for a long time. They broke down the family. They've attacked the individual. They've left us, many of us, feeling like something's intrinsically wrong with us whenever we develop, psychological disorders that are actually normal responses to an aberrant and abhorrent system. Like, somehow we're all the problem. We need to fix us, right? And so we're sent off to counselors and therapists and psychiatrists and doctors that have all been indoctrinated into a certain way of thinking and have been taught to pathologize very normal responses to a very sick system. And so what I'm saying, I'm not saying don't go to a counselor, but I'm saying, or a therapist, but what I'm saying is I've done all that, and what I've found is there are a lot of people out there who read a lot of books and don't have a lot of common sense, and they're just towing the mainstream narrative and pathologizing very normal things. And abusers run this world, sick people run this world, and they want us to believe that we're the problem. So it's actually problematic for them when we all start talking and we all start sharing our stories. We start putting the pieces together. So it's been very helpful for me. I had an extremely traumatic childhood, and my entire life I was trying to heal from it on my own because the trauma was brought on by my family dynamics. I didn't have a family to help me. I had a family that was always telling me I was crazy and that I was a problem, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. And so I was all alone in that way. And that's crazy making. People are constantly denying your reality. And the only person you have to talk to is a stranger that's sitting on a couch, making notes on a pad of paper, charging you $150 an hour, telling you, well, maybe you need Prozac. It's lonely, and but talking out loud is so helpful, and getting real feedback and real connection is so helpful. So I recommend it. And people, there might be people who tell you, oh, you sound like a victim. Well, it's what my experience is. That's people who haven't dealt with their own trauma, and it brings up feelings of shame for them for having been abused or traumatized in some way. So it makes them uncomfortable that you have the guts and the courage to speak up about what's happened to you. Either that, or maybe they're a predator or an abuser, and they fear being exposed. live in a system that likes to keep people quiet so that the abuse can continue. And I think people are starting to wake up to that. So, speak up, share your story. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. That's exactly why the global elites are trying to take away our freedom of speech. Because expression, that's powerful.